Hi, this is Bill Strickland, editor-at-large for Bicycling Magazine and Bicycling.com. We're here today with Mark Sargent, Director Sportif of Silence Lotto. We're at the start of Stage 7, and we're moving out of the way of a team bus. We're going to talk to Mark about why the first mountain stage can be tough for some riders and why some riders find their legs. Mark, what is it about the mountains that just really can wreak havoc with the riders?
Well, for some riders it's rather difficult the first climb, real climb, because we had some fast races up till now, and then some riders have some difficulty to find a good rhythm. Other ones, they like it.
And do we tend to overreact about the first mountain stage, or can it really make the difference in someone's tour? In other words, can the tour be won or lost here on the first stage?
I don't think, lost, it's possible. Win, it's impossible.
And is there ever a time when a rider will find his legs, come into the mountains not feeling great, and suddenly hit the slopes and just start to feel better?
Yeah, that's possible. Sometimes you see, like, for example, Sastre is always finding his best legs in the last week. So it's depending on the rider.
Okay, great. Thanks. This is Bill Strickland with Bicycling.com signing off with Mark Sargent. I'm here with Alan Lim. He's a genius, and he's with Garmin. He's a physiologist, nutritionist, all-around guy who knows everything about bodies and bikes. And we're going to ask him today about why the mountains hit some riders really hard. Alan.
Why do the mountains hit some riders harder than others? Power to weight. That's a big part of it. Some guys just aren't morphologically, physiologically suited for the high mountains. You need to be a pretty skinny, thin guy with a high power to weight ratio to survive the mountains. But also rolls. There's a lot of tactics involved in racing, and the sprinters and some of the domestiques have been doing a lot of work up until this point. And so by the time they get to the mountains, they're going to be doing a lot of work initially, and by the time they hit the big hills, they're going to be totally kaputs, coming back, getting bottles, helping out their leaders, etc. So physiology and rolls.
And Alan, we have this idea that the mountains are always tough for one rider who should be doing well. Is there something about the first mountain stage that can't be explained, or is it a myth? What's up?
What you mean in terms of a rider having an off day, or a favorite having an off day in the first mountain stage? The thing is that there are 21 days, 21 stages of racing here. Everyone in the tour is going to have one bad day, and it's just about odds. It's just about probability. Certainly, nerves come into play, and certainly, some guys are off. But comes around, goes around. Everyone's going to have a bad day, and it's about limiting losses. So, I think maybe it's a little more noticeable on that first day because everyone's paying attention, and by the time we get late into the mountain stages, people expect guys to be tired, but everyone's going to have a bad day.
So everyone has an off day. Sometimes it's just your bad luck that it's in the mountains and you lose 20 minutes.
Exactly. That's right.
Okay, great. This is Bill Strickland with Bicycling.com and Alan Lim signing off from Stage 7 of the Tour de France. Thanks, Alan.
Sure.
Greetings from the Tour de France on Stage 7. This is James Start with Bicycling.com. Well, the Tour hasn't come to Andorra, the Arcalís ski station, for over 10 years. It was 1997 when the Tour last came here. I remember I was sitting just a couple kilometers from the summit with Lance Armstrong for a brief spell, discussing whether he would even think about coming back to cycling after his cancer. Maybe I'll go back to college, he said. On that day, Jan Ullrich rode away from Marco Pantani and Richard Virenque, and the face of the Tour looked like it was going to be much different than it turned out to be. We thought Ullrich that day was going to be the next God King to cycling. It turned out to be Lance Armstrong. Today, Arcalís has the honor of being the first major mountain stage in the Tour, and it could be a defining moment in the race. Much speculation has surrounded the Astana team with Contador and Armstrong. Who's going to come out on top today? Contador knows he has to make a mark on the team and the race if he wants to have full control of the team and the race. Armstrong knows that this is an important day for him as well. It's not that steep of a climb. It's a long climb, but it's not that steep of a climb. That could favor the power of Armstrong. But there's a lot of Spanish fans here. Contador is going to be very motivated. I think if you counted the names on the road, Contador probably got the nod today on the chalk and paint marks that were made by fans. So it's going to be an interesting stage. Maybe, very likely, It could be that not one of those two riders wins, but maybe an Andy Schleck or Carlos Sastre or somebody else, but they could certainly profit from the situation and race into yellow today. From the Tour de France Stage 7 in Andorra, this is James Start with Bicycling.com.